Good morning, fellow zombies. Are we alive yet? Are we awake yet? It's 11 in the morning. I'm not even here. I'm a figment of your imagination. October 28th, 2025 for a Tuesday. Answering a question out there regarding my output. Yes, politics happening at this point, but besides the politics trying to put me to sleep or into a catatonic state where I have to, all the damn time. Taking care of a dog is never easy. But if that was fun enough, I am also dealing with my schoolwork, which we've gone into the part 2 of midterms. Don't ask me why, this is how my professor's doing it. And in another 4 or 5 weeks, I've got the finals happening and a final report. And in the midterm, let me explain something about this Nightmare on Elm Street. It's fun. In this particular midterm I'm working with right now, I deal with several mini essays to deal with. Now, the class I'm still taking until the 1st or 2nd of December is dealing with political and military issues regarding the Korean War all the way through the Second Iraq War we had. We're still trying to get our way past Vietnam for the midterm, but we've already gone past, we're getting up to the first Iraq War. And the midterm thing I'm working with here, there are terms I have to go over a great deal. First one's got, about 12 or 13 of these terms. I can only pick 5. And then I have to maybe about do 2 or 3 paragraphs on it. Little short explanations. I'll bore you with the details. We're doing domino theory, new look policy, direct intervention, CETO, Dendemium. I'll get it right one of these here millenniums. Massive retaliation, Ho Chi Minh. Flexible response, November 1st coup. Arvin. Viet Cong. Tonkin Gulf incident. Operation Rolling Thunder. Ho Chi Minh Trail. Brush fire war. The New Left. Televised war. Tet Offensive. Robert McNamara. The Wise Men. Peace with Honor. Vietnamization. Linebacker 2. And the Fall of Saigon. Now, trust me, I was born in this era while they were having it. I remember barely my mama watching the television, and I couldn't understand what I was watching because I was seeing people coming back from Nam and body bags, not to mention some combat. It was scaring, it was freaking my mother out a great deal, and I didn't know what the hell was going on. It was terrifying times back in the 70s. We didn't honestly know what the hell was going on. We know that back in the 60s, or 50s and 60s, we had the space war going on with the Russians. We had to have the space race. I mean, they popped up a satellite, we popped up a satellite. They pop up a life form, we popped up a life form. They popped up a guy who does maybe 3 sessions, and then we popped up 7 guys doing more sessions than they did. And then during the sessions we're doing, we have to get ready for the moon. So Kennedy decides to do the his own kind of I have a dream. Landing a man on the moon and bringing them back safely to the Earth, and doing it before the end of the decade, to paraphrase things at this point. He was challenging every damn manufacturing company out there, aerospace, engineering, anything and everything about it. Not to mention the support systems for the engineering and for NASA and God knows what else. This became a nationalized project for all of us. But at the same time, we had to worry about political ramifications concerning about the communist Red Scare. It's not that I'm supporting it. It's like take your pick of the thing that meant more to you during that decade. I'm growing up. I'm a toddler, just watching all this stuff and finally crawling around and getting on a couch and then watching with the family. Well, okay, well I say things in space. I don't understand a completely thing what's going on. Okay, that looks cool. Guy coming on the moon. He's walking. Okay, what is that again? You know, if the live stuff of space would capture my attention, it's the Vietnam stuff that would put me to sleep or stay in my nightmares in the subconscious on some occasions. But I didn't realize what the hell I was dreaming. I really didn't. So here I am seeing guys dying in a country that I don't know what the hell it was all about. I get old enough, and it didn't stick in my brain long enough to question a few things. We get into junior high. I already learned about California history a little bit in elementary schools. I'll put the plural in there with a Z instead of an S. And California was it. A little bit of U.S. history, but California was it. Because we were in California and we must learn about California history. Don't ask me why, that's what they were. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth are all talking about. But never about the patriotism enough. Never about patriotism. And never anything about a current recent war that just ended. That I had no idea what the hell was going on until they signed a peace treaty for the thing and officially ended the war. Didn't occur to me. We didn't have any books or anything. Well, we had plenty of old newspapers and we had plenty of microfiche. It didn't occur to me to study about what just happened. It had no relevance, no bearing. None. I'm going to junior high between, when the hell was it again? 79 through 81. A tight 3-year course. And yes, I did cover world history. Actually, world geography. A little bit. Smattering of countries. A little bit here, a little bit there. But anything concerning about the war situations, not a damn thing. Get into high school. Of course, I took American history, but we didn't cover enough about American involvement in Vietnam. It was too fresh in people's minds, and not enough material coming out in the books for us to read about. Well, we had plenty of books concerning about World War II, and almost enough, or some of it for Korean War. But Vietnam was too fresh, No, we don't do Vietnam. But we can do television shows concerning about Vietnam. The veterans popping their corks, as they would show them, having conniption fits regarding combat fatigue. Or basically, you would call it these days post-traumatic stress disorder. Did we, as kids, know anything about this one? Teenagers? No. We're going out in college. If we had any books about it, then we would research. What was concerning about American political stuff? It wasn't covered. It was not covered. They didn't have any classes back in the 80s that I saw in the college I went to concerning about it. But then again, my head was stuck in English history. I had to study about William the Conqueror coming back, or actually coming over to the islands, or the Vikings discovering a lot of places. Don't get enough credit. But if, I should have taken American history back then and really pestered my professors. But there was just not enough books coming out. And it sucked. And it was during a time when computers were just barely coming out. Mainframes, mini frames. The laptops would come out a few decades later. So I had to learn about it through television shows. I had to learn about it through documentaries. I had to learn about it on movies. And if I happened to talk to a veteran about it, there was no way I could have talked to a veteran about it. It's not until a few decades later when I'm coming back in the college system, after working my ass off out there, that I'm learning more and more what the hell happened in Vietnam. One particular class I had a professor who was a war protester, and he was teaching his own version about it with a few other books that wasn't approved by the college. But it was still some reading anyway, because one of the books was something that I'm covering in this particular class. I think I talked about him in a few letters somewhere. You ever heard of Tim O'Brien? He was war. He was a nom, and he tried to write how to explain it to the public in a story fashion that put own his own men into characters or different personas, or I'd call them avatars, and give him scenarios or write about a scenario may or may not have happened. You call it truth. Was it? If it wasn't in the action reports, did it actually happen? But he gave a scenario out of how the people were like in his unit. A lot more detail in it that would give the readers an understanding of what happened over there. In a way, he was trying to communicate his truth being fact, or fact being truth, or is there a blending somewhere in there? That'd be confusing as hell. So it would give us an idea of what the soldier went through. There's been many documentaries concerning about World War II, the soldiers going through it, a lot of docu-series, a lot of dramas, a lot of movies, a lot of stuff about what it was like. And Hollywood have put a dramatic spin on a lot of them. Korea, not so much. But we did get a comedy series that was loosely based off of Vietnam, and in a way of a political stab in the eye for it. Made it into a comedy. First a movie and then a series. Lasted about 10, 11 seasons. And then we had, in the 80s, we had several shows talking about it. Still using technical advisors from the war to help give it a little bit more realism for the public, but still Hollywoodized it. The material I've got is written by somebody who hadn't gone through it, but he's done his research. Actually, the writer did not identify whether or not he actually been over there or not. But the material is dry toast, but it's statistical, and I have to turn something of a statistical into a story. I have never been in a war. I have never been in the military. But I can only say it from the civilian point of view, and that's what I'm going to say it. I'm coming from the civilian point of view, looking at the stuff from the outside in. I'm looking outside the box, looking at the windows of what happened. My brother, who passed away a long time ago, had been a Navy vet, a Navy SEAL. He had several combat missions. A lot of them he wouldn't tell me about. I'd say, okay, fine. I don't want to know them. I know other people would say, but I want to know. I want to know. I'm like, no, I don't want to know the gory details. Thank you very much. Why not? Your brothers. I know my brother said something, and I know other people do stolen valor crap left and right. Let him say the stolen valor left and right. He's already dead. I'm only a witness from what the stories you told me. So you can interrogate me like crazy. I'll just say on that one. Your brother wasn't a true. Well, I don't care if you thought so or not. I really don't give a shit. He's already dead. What are you going to do? He already screwed up his reputation a long time ago. I'm going to go. I'm going to leave it at that. Don't like it on that one. But I know what my brother went through when he came back home, and that's what I can talk about. From a civilian seeing a relative coming back home from a first combat mission that I didn't know he was on. He came home not like my brother. My brother was fun. My brother was a smart ass. And he was serious about taking care of my family because he's number one son. But he came back home a changed person, angry, withdrawn, and had an angry look on his face, confused and terrified at the same time. He had gone through something that he couldn't explain or talk about to the civilians because we have no perspective, nothing to coordinate with. And my mother had to send him out to the local base, talk to her shrink. He did. Only one thing I remembered my brother telling me about it is he learned how to compartmentalize. The shrink had been out there in the Nam, been a medic, came back, learned how to be a doctor, learned how to be a doctor of psychology to walk these guys through their own combat experience. I never learned what the shrink's name was. Back then, I didn't care to ask. I wish I had. But every time I keep looking at a Vietnam vet, either at the stand downs or gatherings or wherever when I was walking, take a side glance at them, sometimes they look normal enough. But then again, I learned how to have spidey senses. Read them. Even if it takes a glance to read them, I learned more and more. Guts, observation, experiences around with vets doesn't make me an expert. It makes me a little in tune with them. I hadn't crossed over the Rubicon, so to speak, into what they gone through. But I could see some of it in their face and eyes. When they're with other people, they can't talk about their experiences around civilians. But among themselves, there's no need because they can read each other. And if they've already gone to the military, maybe if they had gone through a combat mission or two, they're all relatable. In dealing with the essays I'm dealing with regarding Vietnam, I have to do interpretation of someone else's work. Basically, I'm doing a book report. But I have to put in my own observations in this. My own thoughts, my own feelings about what I'm looking at. And how I know what was going on. Now, there's going to be something about politics and combat somewhere in the long-term essays about how I'm going to be looking at it. The longer form is going to take about 3 to 5 pages. As long as I know what the hell I'm looking at and talking about, it's no problem at all. The conflict, how did a domino theory and strategy, a flexible response shape or intervention, if you don't know. Whatever I'm putting into the short-term essays, I know it's going to be pouring into the long-term one. And there are a lot of stuff in here asking questions whether or not we were supposed to be there or not. And I have to reserve my judgment on that one without broadcasting. I just put it in writing first before I can talk about it. So have you guys been wondering what the hell's going on? Closer and closer to end time, more and more essays to write. The more time I'm trying to take for myself, and the more time this dog is taking away from me. If that wasn't bad enough, we got Trump taking away EBT stuff, and I've got lunatics out there who I really do not want to deal with because they are giving me acid reflux. I'm posting stuff as soon as I get the stuff downloaded, work done, and everything else. Am I having a good day? My morning's just getting started. My morning's just barely getting started. And I got a phone that seems to be jamming up on memory, and I can't figure out the reasons why. But this damn thing's dying on me. Now I gotta start spending money for a new phone. Hopefully by next month I'll do that. I know about the other phones. There's always a condition in sight. I get my own damn phone. I'll get my own damn phone on this one. Pay bills first before I get a new phone. I'd like to get me a new bed, so my back won't have to kill me as badly. But since I don't have that, all right, enough said on this one, guys. That being said.